Tittiesntoos.
Okay, welcome everybody to our first recording of Titties and Twos. I'm Monica. I am a tattoo artist. I also have a tattoo studio called Fine Madness, and we are gonna start our podcast series. I want to introduce my friend Alicia. She's a very long-term client of mine, and we just became close friends over the years. And you're welcome.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
Yes.
I've been a client, I think, with you for almost 19 years.
Yes.
And it's been an interesting journey. It's been fun. It's been painful at times.
Yeah.
Seriously. We will get to those spots, but completely worth it.
Yeah.
Completely worth it. So very excited for us to start with this and to go on this journey of the different aspects of tattooing.
Yeah. We wanted to take this opportunity to just talk about tattooing, also from a tattoo artist perspective and from client's perspective. I just felt like over the years I've realized a lot of people don't necessarily realize what they have to keep in account when they want to get a tattoo. So, we're just going to discuss a bunch of tattoo stuff and life stuff. That we've learned during our tattoo journeys as well, about ourselves and about humanity.
I think one of the best things that I saw this morning was a TikTok. So this guy is standing there and he's like, I got this tattoo and it means this, and I got this tattoo and it means this. And then it pans over to the next guy and he's like, oh, well, I just got this because I liked it.
Yes.
And then the other guy's like, what do you mean you just got it and there's no meaning? And the other guy just goes, trauma. Loved it.
Yeah. I think that's something I also want to discuss. It's just tattooing as a form of therapy.
Yes.
For yourself, and what role it plays in your own personal growth.
100%.
And self-discovery. It's such a beautiful tool to use. I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that's what's happening. Yes. I didn't realize that was what was happening. But I think especially with my blackout, I think that's the first time I realized like what a spiritual experience it was for me. With I don't know, something happened while I was getting this tattoos, just sort of putting the past behind me and experiencing that physical pain. Listen to the cat. She wants to come in. And then I just realized, it's such a beautiful way to express yourself and celebrate yourself. It's beautiful. Tattooing is amazing.
I think each and every one that you get has got its own journey, its own thing. Lying there in the chair, there's a point of reflection that you go through. So whether you fall asleep, whether you are there feeling like you're in pain, it doesn't really matter, but there's this thing happening inside of you while you are there, that whether it's consciously that you're sitting there and grappling with it, or whether it's just something that you later on discover, but it's happening while you're there.
There's change taking place.
Yes.
Inside and outside and inside.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, but I think, Monica, tell us a little bit about yourself as a tattoo artist.
Okay. Well, I started tattooing about 10 years ago. I first studied fine arts. Obviously, everybody told me while I was studying fine arts that I won't be able to necessarily make a good living off of art. And I was very aware of it. But unfortunately, I felt like I didn't have any other skills. I could only draw, and it's the only thing I wanted to do. It's the only thing I enjoyed. So I went to study fine arts. But at the end of that, I needed to get a job. I needed to pay rent. So at first I just got a small little job as a kindergarten teacher.
You never knew that.
Oh, really? Yeah. So I was there for about 9 months. It was a weird experience. Obviously that wasn't what I was planning to do with my life. And it's very overwhelming to all of a sudden take care of, I think there was 17 kids in my class.
Oh my gosh.
I had assistants, obviously, but eventually I fell in love with the kids. It was really amazing. But I realized I want to be creative. I want to create art. And then my sister started getting a lot of tattoos. She took me for my first tattoo.
Okay.
And then I started playing with the idea of becoming a tattoo artist. And At first I did a weird course. It doesn't work. Don't do the courses. This course taught me that, or they advertise that they teach you how to tattoo in 5 days, which I now obviously realize is absolutely ridiculous. Who learns a new skill in 5 days? But anyway, I went for the course. It was a complete disaster. I realized I don't know anything after the whole course. Shame, my sister was my first guinea pig. It went horrific. Shame. I've made it up and gave her a lot of better tattoos in the meantime. But yeah, I think that experience still haunts me over today. But anyway, then I realized that I need proper training, and I went for an apprenticeship. And then when I started doing it and realized how difficult it was, I just got hooked. It was a new, exciting challenge for me. I think with my art, I got a bit bored because with paper or painting, sorry, you sort of know the results you're going to get. You know the paper, you know what texture it's going to make, blah, blah, blah. But with tattooing, there's so many variables and everything changes every time. So just as you think, okay, cool, I'm achieving something, or I'm learning something, then something
and you get a client like me whose leg just twitches like this.
Yeah. So there's always new obstacles to overcome and to learn from. And I think that's why I'm still hooked. I'm still obsessed. I still want to get better. I still have a lot of things to learn. But it's exciting. And now I feel like I just want to educate people a bit about what to expect, and maybe just how difficult tattooing actually is. And I think it looks a lot easier when you just look at it, but actually tattooing, there's so many things you have to focus on that I don't think clients always take into account. And then especially if a tattoo artist gives you advice in terms of design or placement or whatever, those are things that you maybe don't take into account. So it's important to listen to your tattoo artist.
Very much. I trust you completely. Every time I come for a tattoo, it's literally a thing of, no, it's fine. If you're happy with it.
Yeah.
That
experience blew my mind, Anisha. I remember Alex and I was busy getting that line straight, and we were busy getting it on you, and then with the stencil. And then I asked you, just have a look and see if you're happy. And you just went, no, it's good. And that blew my mind. I was just like, yes, see. And then I just realized that I'm overwhelmed. It's amazing to realize that people actually trust you like that. But I think it comes from, I know I always try and do my best. So I won't tattoo something, or I won't start tattooing until the stencil is perfect.
Yes, that I can account to. We did a Medusa on my leg. And I think the first stencil that you put on, and this was before you had this, I'm so sorry, before you had this stencil printer. So you did this by hand. And you put it on, and the face was showing to the back.
Yeah.
And you literally stood there and you were like, no, I'm not tattooing this. This is not working for me. You know what? You can come back. And I'm like, no, I'm not coming back. We are doing this today. And it was just a thing of turning it around, getting it so that it sat in a spot where you were happy with it as well. Yes, for me, obviously, it's going to be on me.
Yeah.
But for you, it's also about what you see that I carry out there.
Yeah.
And it's your work that I carry on me.
Yeah.
So if you're not happy, then of course we need to make a change for that. So please listen to your tattoo artist. Please do that.
Yes,
No, but it is important, because at the end of the day, I'm out there with my artwork representing your art.
Yeah.
And I forget about my art because it becomes so ingrained in you and who you are.
Yeah.
So you kind of forget that, oh yes, no, I've got this.
Yeah, it's important to have to find the correct artist for you and someone that you can trust. It's such an important decision. It's a permanent thing. It's an investment at the end of the day, long-term investment.
Yes.
So it's really important to just shop around a bit at the beginning, I think, just to find the artist for you.
Okay, but what would you say somebody needs to look at when they're looking for an artist? Because I know what I looked at and what was important for me. But I mean, as a tattoo artist, what would you say is something that they need to consider?
I think, first of all, the style that you want to get. I think one of the misconceptions about tattooing is that, or what I've noticed is that clients assume that any artist can do anything.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case. I'm sure you do get amazing artists who can do anything. But every little aspect of tattooing, every style, even the technical application of it is such a very intricate thing to sort of practice. And it's just it differs so much from, say, bold lines to thin lines. So if you want to get something very dainty and small, fine liney, look for an artist that specializes in that. If you want to get geometric stuff, look for an artist who specializes in it. So just look through your tattoo artist portfolio. Make sure that you really like their style. Usually I do think you can go through an artist portfolio and sort of see there's a style running through the whole page, specific things that they specialize in, and you can pick it up quite quickly if you just actually know how to look for it. So that you don't end up going to a fine line artist for something like a drywall, for instance. Just realize that there are specialities within tattooing, and every artist specializes in a specific style. And it takes so long to actually get good at that specific style, that specific application of the tattoo, that you really need to go and look for it. Especially even with small tattoos, I've heard so many clients say, it's just a small thing. They feel safer to get a random tattoo from a random artist because it's something small. But I tend to think that smaller things are actually easier to fuck up. So even if it's just something small, it is something permanent that goes on your body forever. You want it to be there forever, so you want it to look good. So just make sure you go to the right artist, go through their portfolio properly. And then another thing I don't think people know about is look for healed work on their portfolio. A lot of the times we post photos of a fresh tattoo, just as we did it. And it is a bit difficult to get the healed photo. You don't always remember if a client comes back to take a photo of the healed tattoo. But if you look through it, there should be healed photos of the tattoos. Because at the end of the day, that is the end product. The tattoo's not done until it's healed.
Yes.
And then you can actually only see what it looks like. Go through the portfolio, look for healed photos. If they don't have healed photos, I think that's a bit troubling.
100%.
And I think the best actually is if you have a friend or you have someone that can recommend you an artist, if you can see how the work looks on them and you like that, then that's amazing. But obviously not everybody has that friend who has tattoos. Look for healed photos. I try and post healed photos as much as I can. And I think I heard an artist say once that a tattoo should actually look better healed than when it looks fresh. Because then it's settled into the skin properly. And you can see if it's caused scarring or scabbing or anything weird. So that's another important thing. And then I think shop around for a vibe. Because everybody craves a different experience. Some people like sort of the shop vibe. If that's something you do like, go do that. If you want more personal or private experience, maybe look for more private studio. I think it's important to feel comfortable while you're getting a tattoo in more than once, not just physically, but just feel safe there. Feel like you can trust your artist, feel like your artist is respectful towards you as a client. And that's a bit difficult to judge, obviously, if you haven't met the artist. Book consultations. Check it out. Make sure that you feel comfortable. To get a tattoo, especially for the first time, I don't know about your first experience, but I was stressed. I don't know. You don't know what to expect. You don't know if it's going to be super painful, or you're going to freak out, or you're going to start crying. So whatever happens, you want to know that you are going to be okay. It's not going to be the end of the world.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I think one of the things why I like having going to a studio and that is I've experienced previously, and not so much for myself where I've been, but when going with someone where you are maybe in a shop type of setup, or where it is a studio setup but there's a lot of artists there, where it doesn't necessarily always stay professional. and where people are talking about other people, talking about, and I'm not saying you can't talk about, what's happening in your life. That's not what I'm saying. But as a client, if this is your first time coming in there, and I hear them talking about somebody who was there, my immediate thought would be, will I ever come back? Because
What are they going to say?
what are they going to say when I
Yeah.
leave? But that's that's few. But that's not every experience and everything. So yes, I absolutely agree. You have to check out what the vibe is, what you want. And sometimes it's maybe you are the person that loves to gossip with.
Yeah.
And go for
That's
it.
fine.
I mean, if that's your vibe, then go for it. For me, I like to come have I almost want to say that serenity feeling of this is the time just to enjoy the pain. I know how that sounds, but to enjoy the pain and, kind of have it as a catalyst of letting things go and, just experiencing that moment.
Yeah.
There are sometimes I remember when I would be there and I'm like, why did I start this again? And you kind of you sit there, especially when you go big, the smaller ones, you're kind of okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
But then when you go big, you sometimes sit there and you're like, the last time I did a big one, I kind of said to myself, I think this is it. And here I am again.
Yeah.
And why are we doing this again? But it's in that time that you get to spend time and, just work through it. And at the end, when it's done, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did this.
And then it's done.
Yeah.
Then the pain is over as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Beautiful.
Except for your cough. That pain never heals in your soul.
The emotional pain.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, it's so traumatizing at times. Yeah, every time I get a tattoo, I'm like, people pay me to do this on them every day. It's so weird being on the other side because I don't experience pain while I'm tattooing. I'm just chilling and enjoying it. And then obviously I keep in mind that it's sore, but then if I haven't got a tattoo in a while and I get one and I realize but it is actually quite sore.
Yes.
Especially obviously depending on the placement and so on. But yes, it's
But sometimes it's not necessarily
It's crazy.
always the tattoo that is sore. It is that little cloth wipey. Yes, that can sometimes be
that's the worst for me as
that
well.
can sometimes be the death. Like you're sitting there, you're like, okay, yes, I can. What is that? Why is it so sore?
That is the worst part for me as well. A lot of people say they feel like it's relieving when you wipe them. I don't know. To me, it feels like a piece of sandpaper.
If it is that there's a little bit more moisture on it,
Yeah.
then yes, it's very relieving for a second.
Yeah.
But the moment that it's not dry, it's not that you go over with something that's dry, but that it starts drying, and it's at the same spot
Yeah.
that you go, yes, like it. That is something you can write books, poems,
Yeah.
memories of for ages to come.
Yeah, it's rough. I was thinking about it yesterday while I was tattooing, about you saying how the wiping, because I was doing this very intricate mandala and had to wipe very carefully to not smudge the stencil. So, and sometimes when that's the case, I don't put a lot of
Yes.
soap on my little lappy, and because then the stencil will smudge more. And then I was thinking about this dry wiping, and I was like, well, sometimes it's necessary. I'm sorry.
And that's the thing. It's not that you're sitting there and you're feeling like you are punishing me for it,
Yeah.
but it's just because it's a very intricate point of the tattoo, and then you're sitting and then you're like, I almost want to say, you are connecting spiritually with something, trying to understand why you are accepting pain like this in your
And
life.
actually paying for it. At
Yes.
the end of it.
Yes. And smiling about it at the end of it.
Yeah, very excited about it.
But I mean, I think a lot of the time when I came in for tattoos, especially with the big ones, I would be sitting and reading, kind of giving you a chance to, just be.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we would be talking and I would keep you out of your
I love to work with it.
But I think, and I'm bringing this in because this is something that I know was for you, you couldn't understand why I would do this to myself. But part of that was reading 100 books.
Well,
and including that while I was there, while I was getting a tattoo, getting to spend time to read a book and getting through it.
Did it
And
help you distract from the pain, the reading?
it did at times, like you get so invested in focusing in on that that you kind of forget there's something else going on. Sometimes it didn't, and then you close the book and you're like, okay, let's take that moment just to kind of like deal with this. But yeah, it's an experience, and every part of you is a different experience.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you can tell someone, oh, no, this one hurts. But that person might feel it differently.
Yeah, exactly. Really, I just want to mention, I think this is the most important or amazing fact about Alicia for me, is that she read 100 books in 1 year. That's insane.
If you break it down, it's 2 books a week.
That's insane, Alicia. Yeah. So smart. I'm good.
No.
Yes.
Just a lot of reading.
But I think the opposite. I can't distract myself from the pain. Then I can't handle it. I need to sit there and focus on the pain and actually try and focus on the vibration rather than the pain, and then I can get through it.
Okay, but I know that we've spoken a lot about it being painful.
Yeah.
Okay. The reality is, it is a tattoo.
It is
getting struck by a needle like very fast.
Yeah.
But it's different pain,
and it's manageable. It's always manageable.
Yes.
It's not like you're gonna feel like you want to get up and punch the artist and run out of the room.
No.
It's still a bearable pain.
I mean, the like my legs for me was very hard at times, especially because we did quite big artwork on it, and I had no control over it. But you know how bad I felt. Do you remember how many times I would say sorry to you?
I do.
How many times people had to press me down because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kick you, But it's bearable pain. At the end of the day, you're going to walk out of there and you're going to look at it and you're going to be so proud of that tattoo that you have. Some of the spots, and I think that actually ties in with choosing your tattoo artist, is also looking at the different parts of the body and what people are saying. And also, a lot of people might feel like, let's say, for instance, the ribs are very bad.
Other clients sleep on
Yes,
touching them on the
correct.
wrist. So it's so different for everybody.
Exactly.
No.
Your pain tolerance, you might think you've got a very low pain tolerance. And then you come and get a tattoo and suddenly you're like, oh, actually I can deal with it.
Yeah.
So don't be discouraged about the concept that there's going to be pain. Yes, there's going to be pain. It's a reality. But it's a different pain. It's something that helps you reflect, release, think, engage, and to be proud of at the end of it, of what you've got.
I think it makes me feel stronger. Like,
Yes.
yes, if I can sit through this, then I can get through a lot of things.
Yes. Yes. No,
If I can
100%.
handle this physical pain, then my emotional pain is...
Yes, then you can deal. Then you can deal with it.
Yeah.
No matter what life throws at you.
Yeah.
So, I don't think anybody should be discouraged of a tattoo.
Yeah.
I think it's the best thing you can do in life.
And the pain is temporary. It's not... It's only while you're getting tattooed. When it's all... When it's done, it's done.
Okay. So just a little tip on that. When you do get a tattoo, please don't go into the sun. You will hate yourself. You will... So I would go out during the tattoo to go and have a vape. And in that 3 seconds that I walk in the sun, I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this to myself? And so you need to make conscious decisions as well. Obviously not to or prolong the pain of things.
Yeah.
But in that moment when you're getting it, it's going to be over.
Yeah.
So whether you want to start with something small, kind of get a feel for it. I know a lot of people start small. I did on my finger.
That's a...
Oh my gosh.
Was that your first tattoo on your finger?
That was my first tattoo. I will say this. I thought it would not be that bad. Wow, bone is...
Fingers are rough. I think
something is
my
different.
worst tattoos. My finger
Yeah,
tattoos.
they are something wild, but it is so worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, even all these years later, like I'm still looking at it. I still remember what I went through to go and get it. All those things, and I'm still proud of it.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of your personal journey of the tattoo, is being proud of what you are getting, being proud of the tattoo artist that you go to, and being able to celebrate what you have.
And yourself.
Yes.
That's the whole point of tattoos. It's just celebrating yourself at the end of the day.
100%.
Yeah. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to do for yourself.
Hundreds.
Yeah. It's actually, what I love about it is this, it's the only thing that's only yours, and it will only be yours, and you can't lose it.
Yeah.
It's going to be there forever. It's part of you.
Look, I mean, and the great thing is, a little bit on the dark side here of life, we will not get trafficked very quickly because, you know, they can identify us much easier. So get that tattoo.
Yeah. I also just want to say, I think a lot of people, I've seen a lot of my clients with their first tattoos, they want to base their decision on where to get the tattoo based on where they'll feel the less pain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a good idea. Get the tattoo where you want to get it, regardless of the pain. If you want to get your first tattoo on your ribs, then get it there. And I mean, if it's your first tattoo, you don't have anything to compare it to, so it's just going to feel like a tattoo for you. Yeah. So yeah, just get the tattoo. Don't worry about the pain.
Yes.
You'll deal with it.
You will. You will. And you will walk out of there and feel a lot more confident about yourself and about your artwork that is on you. And before you know it, you're there for your second tattoo, and your third and your fourth, and before you know it, it's like 100.
Yes. And then you start seeing all the gaps.
Yes.
And you want more.
So many gaps. So many. And I think don't be like me. Don't get like one little tattoo and think like your whole body is covered. It's not. Start, I mean, if you really are so focused on wanting to get a sleeve, then think about the sleeve. Think about what it is that you want to get. If you don't want to have little bits and things in between, then think about that. But if you are okay with having one arm that's going to be your bits and everything, great. And have one arm that you've specifically planned for, great. But don't be scared. Don't let the fact of what to get what you want. Get what you like. Don't let that hold you back. You know, and then make the excuse that it's going to be too painful. And I'm literally saying it like this, and I'm sorry if anybody feels offended of this, because it is an excuse.
The pain
and saying that you're not sure about what you want to get. You know that first thing that pops in your mind, that is the thing that you want to get. Do it.
And you don't have to explain it to anybody. You don't have to explain your tattoos to anybody. It's just yours. If you like it, then get it.
Exactly. So I think there's a lot for everybody to think about. I think in this time that we're going to be doing this, there's a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about, different things that we want to explore, see, you know, and I think also what's important is hearing from everybody and being able to get comments and stories, feedback, you know, things that you want us maybe to talk about. Because this is for you. This is about being able to help you in deciding of what you want to do and how you want to go forward with your tattooing.
And we want to hear people's experiences. Tell us about your first experience. Tell us about what you look for in an artist. It's exciting. I want to create a little community where people can just talk about tattooing. I loved talking about tattooing, so I think that's why we're doing this. Just talk about tats.
But thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward in seeing you for the next one. Bye.
Titties and